Hello, Costa Mesa, and welcome to our historical home tour. My name's Renee Pena, vintage home expert with the Costa Mesa Historic Society, and today we're going to be touring one of the homes featured in our 2022 Historical Homes calendar. Be sure and get your copy. We're on one of the most coveted blocks in all of our city, the 200 block of Magnolia. To view one of the homes in the calendar, we're at 280 Magnolia to meet the owners, tour the home, and learn a little bit more about this very unique and interesting property.
Hi, I'm Jeff Horn, and I've lived here at 280 Magnolia Street since 1974. I bought this house as a young man, and it was in quite bad repair at the time, but wanted to spend the time and energy trying to keep the Craftsman flavor of the house over the years. The tree, when I moved in here, a magnolia tree, interestingly, on Magnolia, was about the size of my arm when I moved in, so we've both grown old together. As we move into the house, when I first purchased it, the former owner had told me that the house had been on the beach in Balboa, and I didn't believe that until I found evidence of it, which you'll find out about later. But the front of the house, the porch, once looked out on the bay on the Newport Peninsula. So as we move in, a lot of things have been reconstructed, improved, but we've kept the old flavor of the house. The front porch is one of our favorite features of the house. It's so wonderful in the summer to sit out in front and see your neighbors walk by. The exterior of the house has changed quite a lot. The shingles were not originally here. I think the house was shiplap when it was down on the beach. The only thing really original from this point of view is the old windows, which still have the old glass that you can see the construction of. Even this table kind of plays into the history of the house. The wood was reclaimed from interior walls when we did some remodeling, which I'll explain later. Please come on in. Hi, honey.
Hi.
Everyone, this is my wife, Jan. We've been here together in this home since 1988.
Yes.
In this room, the only thing probably original, again, is the windows and in the ceiling treatment, except for the beams. But everything else has had kind of a makeover. The fireplace, for instance, was brick and painted white when I moved in. And rather than change it to make it look more modern, we've tried to stay with the old Craftsman feeling, and it now has tile in place. And you can see that our furnishings are kind of in keeping with the Craftsman tradition, and luckily my wife Jan also has liked it. We've kind of made an ingle nook of sorts out of this area. Originally, when I moved here, it was a dining room, and the kitchen used to be back in the back of the house, which was the tradition for houses, built at that era, and the door was over that way. Since a remodel, it has become a much more ample guest bathroom. It makes much better placement for that than what it was.
We entertain a lot, and we have a large and growing family, so I like to cook, and I needed a bigger kitchen. Behind that wall, I always felt like I was being punished back there, and I couldn't interact with guests, so here is what we did for the kitchen instead. This had been, at one time it was a family room, and then it was a bedroom. But as our kids grew up and moved out, we didn't need another bedroom, so we turned it into this kitchen here.
This is Jan and I around 1988. You can see the magnolia tree is also much smaller. In this corner, we have a very interesting little piece of history, we think. This is a view of this house, we believe, as it once was on the Balboa Peninsula in the early 1900s. The piece of board at the bottom here, it has the impression of the numbers 1126, and the former owner had told me that the house had been on Balboa, and I thought, well, okay, until I found this as evidence that this had been over the back door and the numbers had been painted over many times, and it remained when the house was moved here. So the back of the house once fronted on the street for the numbers, and the front of the house once fronted on the Balboa Bay. So you could look out over the bay. Now it looks at Magnolia Street.
We were in a bookstore and saw a book of 100 years of Newport Beach history, and opened up the cover and there was our house. So that's what led us to this discovery.
If it was not our house, it's the same brand of house. It may have been even a kit house from Sears and Roebuck.
Okay, this is where I spend most of my time, and you can see why I needed a bigger kitchen than we had behind that wall. I don't have an eye. I can look at plans and they mean nothing to me except lines. So I just told Jeff, you know, here's what I want in my kitchen, and then he was able to draw it up and get it.
We did a tour up in Pasadena of the Craftsman homes, the green and green, and Jan happened to see the soapstone in a house there, and that sealed the deal for the soapstone, which is a period from the turn of the last century. And so this is an ample kitchen now, and we now have a great flow from here. This little tiny room off the side is now a very ample pantry, but once upon a time it was a bathroom that accompanied the bedroom that was here.
These old homes have a lot of charm, but no closet and pantry and cupboard and just no storage space. So I really wanted this large pantry, and as you can see, it gets filled up.
I'll also mention while we're in this room that during the remodel, behind a wall, we found an old drain pipe that was stuffed with a newspaper. And that newspaper had the date of August of 1947, year I was born. So that tells me that we can presume the house was brought up here sometime after 47. We assume it's when the soldiers were coming home. They picked that house up from Balboa and brought it up here and planted it in Magnolia Street. So again, now we're moving into what used to be the kitchen and the back door.
And it's not Craftsman. I was, as he was remodeling the house, when we were picking out furniture, I said, it's beginning to look like a furniture store. I want something that isn't Craftsman, so this is what we came up with. And I think it blends in with the house.
I think it blends in beautifully.
It blends in beautifully.
Absolutely. So let's go back over into the new addition to the house, really the only new construction. This opening right here, there used to be a door to the outside right here, and the stairwell will go upstairs later. You can see it, we weren't able to make that any larger without some major change. So, but this room we added as our family grew. We decided we needed a lot more entertainment space and to feed grandchildren. So this room, we've kept the exact same feeling of the old house. The ceiling, we had the contractor make the ceiling the same, etc. And we used the wainscoting, which was a period sort of a thing. The entryway into this room, I mentioned earlier the table outside. The picnic table was made from the boards that used to be the wall. There were no 2x4 construction of the walls. They were what they called board-on-board construction, and those boards were just nailed together, and I salvaged them and made the table that's in the front.
We spent time in Italy recently, and Jeff did many paintings. We were in the countryside in Tuscany, so this is one of my favorites because it just shows the homes as they are, those old stone buildings. So his idea there was to do a lot of small pieces, and now he's working on larger pieces from these smaller ones. These he did outdoors while we were in Italy.
An outdoor painting is sort of part and parcel to the Craftsman movement, and I happen to be a painter myself. This particular one is one of mine that Jan said we're keeping that. So, but many of the paintings around the house were by other painters from whom I've bought the paintings or traded. When we first moved in, this was a bunch of little tiny rooms. We were told that the house was a boarding house, actually, at one point when it was down on the peninsula. The rooms were the level of this redwood strip that's now up here, and I came up here and tore all the interior walls out. There was a room here, there was a second room over there, a third one over there, fourth one right here. They were all very, very small, which kind of was in keeping with the idea that it was a boarding house. So I came in here with a sledgehammer and raised everything up, and actually that was the very first remodel, to open this up into a much larger living space. What is original here are the doors. They, other than being oiled, they're exactly the same as they were. We kept that entirely the same. And there's actually a pocket slider door in the bathroom, which you'll peek in, that had, when I tore the walls apart, has a patent date of 1890. So the house is indeed that old. So it's a much more airy the way it is now.
This room was a kitchen, a second kitchen in the house, and while our kids were growing up, we kept it as that, but then as they moved out, we didn't need that second kitchen. So it's more of an office for us right now.
Office and wet bar.
Office and wet bar. Yeah, whatever.
What a nice combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, this little tiny room here is where grandchildren stay when they come now, right, honey?
Yeah, just got a pull-down bed.
It has a pull-down Murphy bed, and actually borrowed 3 feet off of the one side of the room, so it's particularly tiny now, so that we can make a walk-in closet for Jan. Our actual bedroom is about the size of my daughter-in-law's wardrobe. But what do you need when you're asleep? Not that much space. So while we're still in the grandchildren's room, you'll notice I've got drawings of my grandchildren. Most of the pictures were done while they're asleep, because that's the only time you can draw kids. Otherwise they move a lot. So these are a bunch of quick studies of my one grandson, where you maybe have 10 minutes or so to draw them before they move. But so in keeping with the theme, it's the grandchildren's room. Okay, coming into the bedroom now.
This is the unmasterly master bedroom because it's very small, like most of the rooms in old Craftsman homes, but works for us. So.
Yeah. When you have your eyes closed, how much space do you need? This is the entrance to our little upstairs bathroom. It's been reconfigured considerably. The toilet used to sit under that window, which you can imagine was not appropriate. So that's become a shower. Here's that pocket door I was telling you about with the 1890 sliding mechanism that's behind the wall.
So we have a little deck off of here and then a catwalk that goes to Jeff's studio, which is being painted right now, so we're not going into that.
It's a creative mess. This is a little deck area where we might sit and have coffee in the mornings. It's sort of east facing. And There's a bridge from here that runs across to an office studio above the garages, which we did in 1988 or
Yes.
thereabouts.
Thanks for letting us share our home with you. Jeff especially takes a lot of pride in that home, and it's nice to share it.
It is indeed. Hope you enjoyed it.
We love the whole neighborhood here. We love this East Costa Mesa, and we're especially glad that the history is being highlighted.
My name's Renee Pina. We hope you enjoyed our home tour today, and for more historical homes, be sure and get a copy of our 2022 Historical Homes Calendar. Thank you so much for watching.
Hold on. Oh, sorry.
Give us a minute.